Did you know that the average college graduate owes more than $37,000 after graduation? And less than 54% of high school graduates heading off to four-year colleges actually graduate within 6 years. Hello, I'm Jamila Freelain, author of Free Money for College and the founder of Encouraging Words College Prep. Now, in my new book, I tackle these issues head on. It is filled with more than 50 tips, resources, programs, and college and career preparation information. My new show on the Wake Up Call radio and TV broadcasting network is an extension of that book. Each week, you will be inspired by a tremendous student or a tremendous community leader, and sometimes both. You'll also learn how to save money on college costs. So tune in each week to get inspired and learn something new all at the same time.
Welcome to the Encouraging Words Show, the show that's sure to inspire you. We are here to celebrate students and parents of every age. Now, with your, let's say, a middle schooler, you're a high schooler, or you're an adult that's looking at returning to college, this is the show you don't want to miss. Here we talk about different things that are in relation to college and career preparation. This show is meant to inspire, it's meant to empower you in terms of college and career preparation tips, and it's also meant to provide different information in terms of financial literacy and to help you reduce college costs. Now today I have a phenomenal guest and I'm so excited about her. Her name is Sabrina Hugh, and I also have a call-in guest today that I'm even more excited about. That's Dr. Ruben West, so you make sure that you stay tuned. Now Dr. Ruben West and Sabrina Hugh are going to talk a bit about, of course, college and career preparation, and I'm so excited because Sabrina's just written a new book, and actually pre-sales are on the way, right? Or are they here?
They're here right now.
Oh, yes. Okay. Well, again, we're excited about having both of them tune in. Make sure that you stay tuned, rather, and I'll jump right in. Now, Sabrina, tell me, what is it that motivated you to write this book?
What motivated me, Jamila, was actually my upbringing. Okay, so I grew up here in Charlotte, right off of West Boulevard in Boulevard Homes.
Okay.
And even from Boulevard Homes to going to Albemarle Road Middle School and then on to Independence High School, no one ever talked to me about college.
Wow.
It was almost as if it was not for Sabrina. Okay. And so I actually lived 5 miles from Johnson C. Smith University.
Okay.
And in living there, you would think that I had the opportunity to go on the campus of Johnson C. Smith University.
Of course, with it being in such close proximity,
that
right?
Close to my home. Well, I was actually, and I'll tell my age, I was actually 47 the first time I ever went on the campus of Johnson C. Smith. Yes,
wow,
47. And I went for a graduation of a really dear friend of mine. Her son was graduating.
Okay, wow.
And I was amazed, but it really didn't hit me until starting to even think about the book, that all of this had transpired and it was leading me up to a place where I had such a love for making sure that students and parents understood the process of getting into college.
Okay.
And so that, along with just thinking about all the other colleges here in Charlotte, was like a really aha moment. And then a show that you had the other day just really sealed the deal for me.
Okay, so tell the listening audience about that.
Well, the show the other day, Mr. Millard
McClooney. Yes, he was on the scholarship show. You guys got to watch that one.
And when Mr. McClooney was on the show, he spoke about the scholarship through the Charlotte Housing Authority. Well, of course, before I said I grew up off of West Boulevard in Boulevard Homes. Lived in the Housing Authority projects, that's what we called them at the time, lived there, and still no one ever talked to Sabrina about college. And I'm talking about myself in the third person because it almost felt like it was foreign. Almost felt like it was not meant for me. But with that being said, when I saw Mr. McClooney the other day, I was actually sitting up doing some work and was thinking about exactly what today would bring for us in this interview.
Right.
And when I knew I was coming, so I wanted to kind of see what the show, how the flow went.
Right.
And as Mr. McClooney was talking about the Charlotte Housing Authority, I was like, wow, I grew up there. I was a part of that. Wow. But it was actually 1984 before they even started the scholarship.
Right.
Well, 1984, I was a teenage mom.
Wow.
16 with my first son, and had someone still talked to me at that point, college would have been an option, but no one saw past Sabrina. It was almost like I was invisible.
Wow.
And so that really, in seeing him speak about the Housing Authority and getting an opportunity to see what options are open to students now, I said, you know something, I know that God had a huge plan for my life, and everything is almost like life is going full circle at this point.
Absolutely.
And that was really exciting for me.
And what I think is probably most tremendous about your story is that there's somebody at home watching, and there's somebody who's maybe thinking, okay, I'm a teen mom, you know, they may be giving up on themselves, maybe their family has given up, and maybe they don't have a voice and they don't have anybody else to be an advocate for them. So that's kind of what your book is going to be providing for students and parents as well, right?
Well, my book, which is titled From Mama's House to College.
Love that title, by the way.
Thank you. Actually will do everything that you just stated. It will give a mom that thinks, I don't have any options for my child. And I know my mother loved me, but she did not understand the process. I loved my 3 sons, or loved my 3 sons, but I didn't understand the process.
And it is a process.
And it is a process, a very extensive process. But one of the keys that you'll find in my book deals with learning the language, but not just that. I don't want there to be a senior that gets to their senior year and you don't get the opportunity to really enjoy being a senior. So when we came in on tonight, I saw some young men here looking like they may be, 11, 12 years old, maybe even 13. That you can start that early preparing your student for college. And that's one of the things. Well, that's one of the things that you'll find in my book. All of the woes that I faced, but at the same time they weren't woes, because at the end of the day, we want to make sure that students get from mama's house to college.
Right. Right, absolutely. Well, I think that's such a great message, and it's a tremendous story. It talks about, or it really, to me, just in what you've shared thus far, is really a testament to the human spirit. It's definitely a testament of who you are and how you were able to overcome kind of feeling overlooked and become empowered. Now tell me, when did you end up going to school, or did you finish? And yeah, tell us about that journey.
Okay,
because
so
that's a journey in and of itself.
Very much so. I spoke about the fact that I was a teenage mom. My oldest son, Derek, who is now 32.
Okay.
And I have my first granddaughter, I have to say, Taylor Michelle, has been on a college campus. But when it actually hit, I was actually living in transitional housing over at Hunter House on 7th Street.
Okay.
And
now, for those of us that aren't familiar, what is Hunter House exactly?
Hunter House was transitional housing for teenage moms.
Okay.
And
so is that like the Florence Crittenden?
It's actually the other side of Florence Crittenden, so or was at that time. Back in '84, it was. But what would happen is the girls that would come from Crittenden would come to Hunter House. And so you could also actually go to Hunter House, and I wanted to be grown. So my sister said, I'm going to show you what grown women do. I'm going to take you to Hunter House, and I'm going to enroll you in the program. And I'll be honest with you, she saved my life.
Wow.
My sister Tracy, who's now deceased, but she actually saved my life by taking me to Hunter House. Central Piedmont Community College was right across the street. Like, we could stand out on the porch and see CPCC.
Great school, by the way.
Yes. Yes. So they had there was an 8-room house at the time, so each girl had her own room, place for her child, the whole 9 there. Daycare was like right down the ramp, so I would take Derek to the daycare.
Eliminated every obstacle.
All the barriers were eliminated.
Transportation wasn't an issue. Childcare wasn't an issue.
Not at all.
Now, was part of the contingency or whatever for you to be able to stay there that you had to complete a college program or something?
It was actually not, but you did have to have a plan.
Okay.
And to be honest with you, I believe with my heart that all of us have a purpose and plan inside of us.
Absolutely.
And at some point in life, it wakes up.
Yeah.
And when it wakes up, it says, hey, I'm here. And it's time for you to put me into action.
Right.
And so I went over to CPCC. By this point, my mom had passed away. And my sister, like I stated, had taken me over to Hunter House, signed me up. And so I had to have a plan. One part of that, after I had my son, I did quit school to take care of my mom, who had cancer at the time.
Wow.
Went to CPCC, got my GED. While I was working on my GED, I was actually working at the Y, which at that time was uptown.
Okay.
And so with that process, it helped me to, it was almost like I grew up real fast.
Yeah, of course, of course. You were a single mom. You were basically on your own, and then you had to go to school on top of that and work. Yeah, that would make you grow up really quickly.
I learned the power of education, and I cannot stress that enough. I really learned that the power of education can take you anywhere, can bring you through anything, can give you an opportunity to see life in such a different light. And so I just want to stress that even the more, that as you consider purchasing, down the line, purchasing of my book, I would also encourage you to consider the fact that it's not just a book or a handbook for parents, but it is a story, and it is a story of hope, possibilities, and purpose that can wrap you up and take you so many places in this life.
You're saying education.
Education can, yes.
Yes, absolutely. And I love the fact that you said you had a plan, because that's something that I try to share with students and parents all the time. Everybody's not going to choose the same path, and there's no one thing that's going to fit everybody, but at least having a plan, and the earlier you can get started with the plan, like you said, middle school, that is prime time. It really is, because if you start that early, number one, you're going to expand your mind in terms of understanding career exploration a little better. And you're going to give yourself a multitude of opportunities, as opposed to just beginning to think about those things your junior and senior year of high school, and then wondering what the heck you can do, and picking something out of haste only to get to college and maybe change majors 6 different times, which will, again, end up costing you money and time. So, and definitely when it comes down to it, something you said too that reminds me of my favorite quote. You mentioned having a plan, and there's that quote, and I believe it goes something to the effect of, you know, there's no greater, there's nothing greater than an idea whose time has come. So that idea and that plan that you had in the back of your mind when you were at Hunter House, it began to come to fruition, and then again, its time had come, and you were able to take a situation that might have knocked other people out of the box, and you were able to turn your life around, which is great.
It helped a lot, and I would encourage any young person to do it early.
Yes.
Early is always better.
Early is best. That's for sure. That's for sure. Well, we're going to go to a break. And again, I thank you for tuning in. I appreciate you guys staying tuned and watching Sabrina here. And we are going to have a call-in guest in just a few minutes. His name is Dr. Ruben West, and he is the CEO and founder of Black Belt Speakers. You don't want to miss it. We've talked about having a plan and a purpose, and he's an individual who can help you in that particular path or journey. Stay tuned. And we're back. Thanks again for tuning in to the Encouraging Words Show. As I've mentioned, if you were able to see the first half of the show, you got to hear the powerful testimony from Sabrina Huff and how she overcame, and now how she's inspiring students and parents everywhere with her new book, From Mama's House to College. What a tremendous message. That's great. Well, I've got 2 great resources here, ladies and gentlemen. Today, I have not just Sabrina Huff, but I have another very powerful and inspiring individual as well. His name is Dr. Ruben West, and he is actually the CEO and founder of Black Belt Speakers. Dr. Ruben West, how are you today?
I'm doing wonderful, and I want to say thank you for being on the show. And man, Sabrina was powerful, and so what I want to say is you're bringing the right people at the right time, because we need this information, so thank you.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. So, with Sabrina, for example, you talked about how your challenges were as a single mother, and how it took a little time for you to gradually build up the confidence and even the mindset of being able to go away to school and that sort of thing. And of course, those of you who watch the show on a regular basis know that I talk a lot about planning for high school. Now, again, I talk a lot about college and career preparation, but again, I don't believe there's a one size that fits all at all. I'm big on schools that have 2-year programs. I'm big on certificate programs. I'm big on 4-year colleges and universities. That goes without saying, but I believe that as long as you have a game plan, and you talked about having a plan earlier, as long as you have a plan for life beyond high school, that can really set you up for success, no matter what your path. Dr. West, what would you say to a student who might be feeling a bit discouraged, or maybe even a parent that's thought about going back to school, but just really, really concerned about, you know, how that could work out for them, or whether or not they should go back at all?
Exactly. So what I know is that challenges are going to face us all, and if we're thinking about what's going to stop us, then we'll always find an answer. And I believe that the answer is not focusing on what's going to stop you, it's focusing on a reason that you have to get to this next level, a reason that you have to get to this information, a reason that you have to go back to school, or you have to go to this trade school, or you have to elevate yourself. What I found out that in life, we don't get what we want, we get what we must have. Anytime you label something as something that you must have, you'll either find a way or you'll make one. And so the first thing I'm going to tell you is that if you're looking for an excuse, you can always find one. But what you have to do is you have to look for the reasons why you must face this next level, and face it with a level of tenacity that no matter what comes up, because things are going to come up, you'll keep looking for a way to get around it. Okay. So you're saying you really have to dig deep inside. And then for those of you that are just tuning in, Dr. Reuben West, we're honored to have him today as our call-in guest. This is really a special treat. And you're kind of speaking to, you reminded me, Dr. West, of how people say you need to find your why. Yes.
That's what it kind of reminds me of.
It is, you find your why. And a lot of times, you know, that can become internal. It comes from internal, and then it can also come from external. But what we tend to do is we look at our circumstances that are around us. And so what I love about Sabrina is when you look at her circumstances and you see what she was facing, it wouldn't seem like most people would get out of that situation. As a matter of fact, they would think most of them would be a statistic. Well, here's what I know. On every statistic, there's people on both sides. So if they say 80% of people are not able to do X, Y, Z, then that means 20% aren't. And there's something that those 20% did that the 80% wasn't willing to do or didn't find a way to do it. And so I think for me, the ability to focus on what you want to do and then look for solutions and then look for people that's willing to help you. I think that's really the key.
Yeah, definitely. Now, speaking of that, because I really think of both you and Sabrina as mentors and encouragers, and I even liken that to myself in some ways as well. One of the things about Sabrina is that she's not only done the book, but you've also worked with lots of students in the past, and so you've been a mentor to other individuals. Of course, Dr. West, you've been a mentor to me in the short time that I've known you, and you've been a really strong mentor to other friends that I know very well here in the Charlotte area. Talk about your mentor and how that relationship evolved, and who's mentored you over the years.
Absolutely. So let me just say, for those of you who don't know it, I've had a martial arts school here in Kansas for 20 years where I've mentored a lot of young people. And some of them are doctors now, lawyers now. They went all the way through the ranks, and it really changed their perspective on life. And so what I know is about being around someone who can help you see a situation differently, and then always being willing to invest in yourself. And so what I did was I tried to find people who could see things in me that I couldn't see. And my first person that was outside of my family, I would say, was a nurse named Jamila Blackman. I assisted in surgery for years. I met her in Wichita, Kansas. And every day she would walk up and she'd say, Reuben, there's something special about you. Reuben, you can speak to people. Reuben, you can start your own business. But I remember she kept saying these things over and over again. I kept thinking, why was she saying this to me? Because what was interesting is I literally didn't see it, but she would say it all the time. And then I thought to myself, what if she's right? What if all this time she's seen something that I don't see and I never act on it?
Right.
And so I remember one of the days after she said it, I literally went and called a friend of mine and said, hey, we're going to start this business. I told him, he said, what is the business? I said, it's a medical staffing company. And he said, what do you need me to do? I said, quit your job. He said, okay. I said, wait a minute. People actually listen to me. You know what I'm saying? Well, we started that company, and we started several companies. We've generated millions of dollars. I started that company, the Marstar School, a medical assistant company, a surgical assistant company. We wrote the textbook. We wrote the college curriculum. We trained people across the country to assist in surgery. We owned that company. I mean, all of these things from the fact that she was willing to speak life into me and give me an idea that I didn't see. Now, here's what I'm going to say. We have to be coachable.
Yes, that's true.
It's so easy for us to hear somebody say something negative to us, and we just accept it.
Right.
But remember, I said when she kept coming to me, she had to keep coming to me every day saying something positive before I would finally accept it. But if somebody said, hey, Ruben, something bad, I probably accept it right away. That's because we've been conditioned that way. And so one thing is you have to find somebody who believes in you, even when you don't believe in yourself, number one.
Right.
And then number two, you have to be coachable. Henry David Thoreau was asked at the end of his life, if you could come back and be anyone throughout history, who would you like to come back as? And he said, I'd like to come back as the man I never was. I thank God that had one that helped me see a version of me that I didn't know I had it within me to be. Or I'd be saying that same thing.
Wow, that was really powerful, that's for sure. And much like your sister, she saw something unique and gifted in you, Sabrina, and she, because of her encouragement, you were able to recognize maybe there is something different, maybe there is something better. That's great. So now, Ruben, I know we talked about the martial arts school and how that has been instrumental in teaching young men and young women discipline and determination, and they've gone on, like you said, to be doctors and that sort of thing, and just gone into various successful professions. Can you tell us a little bit about the Black Belt speakers as well, and what that consists of, and how that helps to allow people to tell their story?
Exactly. So that's the reason that my speaker training is called Black Belt Speakers. I am a 7th degree Black Belt. But what I said is that it's helping people break through barriers and break down walls, helping them put the punch in their presentation. And what I wanted to do was I wanted to train people how they could use their story to help other people see a different possibility for themselves or for their lives. And so what I committed to doing was putting together programs and doing training that would help individuals who are everyday individuals that have a story. Now, here's the funny thing. Some people say, well, I don't have a down-and-out story. You don't have to have one. See, that's what we believe, is that if we don't have a down-and-out story, we can't motivate some. But you know what I found? Is that sometimes people's issue is not that they had a down-and-out life. It's not that they had all these setbacks or hardships. It's not that they've had all of these challenges. You know what it is? Is that they've never challenged themselves. They've actually had it too easy. I believe sometimes God gives us the advantage of disadvantage. You've never seen a heavyweight boxing champion that grew up rich.
Right.
You know what? They were in a situation where they literally had to fight themselves out of that situation, and they had to go to the gym each and every day. Muhammad Ali said, I hated every moment in the gym. But I said, suffer now and live the rest of my life as a champion. And sometimes we have to be in a situation that challenges us, and if the situation doesn't do it, we have to be willing to challenge ourselves.
Yeah, that's true. Where there's no struggle, there's no progress, right? And this probably isn't the most appropriate, but when I think of what you said, I think of a line from Chris Rock years ago. He said, you know, the lower you go on the socioeconomic status, the better you fight. And that's the truth. You know, the struggle that you have, if you had to overcome, and I forget who else's quote it is, but really success is not to be measured so much by what you've accomplished, but the obstacles that you had to overcome in order to get where you are. So I think that speaks to that in a very deep level, and I love the way you articulated that. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
So as far as some of your plans for the future, and I know there's maybe a youth division of Black Belt speakers as well, maybe on the horizon. Tell me about that, because, you know, of course, that's where my heart is. Definitely let's share that with the students and parents who may be watching.
So one of the things I realized at my last Black Belt speaker training in North Carolina is I had 2 youth there. One was Hope, and one was Christian. Christian was from Germany. He came over to speak. Hope was from North Carolina.
Right.
And this is a young lady who got brain cancer at, I think, 9 years old.
Yes.
But she was positive about it. She kept wanting to fight it. It broke her mom down, but she had even encouraged her mom. And then I realized something. Out of the mouths of babes, if we get young people to be able to spread messages of hope, to be able to speak up against the issues that they're facing, to be able to be a light or a beacon, to help people see different possibilities for themselves and for others, I think that we can eliminate some of the problems that we're facing, like bullying, like dropout, like teenage suicide. I believe that the world is the way it is, not because so many people are violent. I believe the world is the way it is because so many good people are silent. And I said, man, if I can help get some young people who are willing to speak out, speak up, and stand up, then I think it would make a tremendous difference. And so that's a new area that I'm focusing on, which is training young people on how to give speeches and presentations to classmates and organizations and groups to get them more involved and committed to helping our young people be successful.
Oh, great, great. I cannot wait until you get started with that. That's just like, I'm ready to jump out the chair and be like, okay, when are we starting? Yeah, that's definitely tremendous. Well, we're just about out of time, but I want to thank you so much for being so gracious and coming on the air. And again, I want to thank both of you, actually, because both of you had different pieces to bring to the table to share, and each of you had something that's going to resonate with those who watch at home. I want to thank you again for tuning in to the Encouraging Word Show. And again, if this is your first time watching, don't make it the last time you watch this show. Again, my name is Jamila Freelain. I'm the host of the Encouraging Word Show, and today's show today's show and every show is brought to you as a result of a book that I wrote called Free Money for College, where I talk about different resources as well as some of my trials and tribulations as a first-generation college student, and the lessons that I learned and some of the resources that I've learned as a successful college administrator definitely can help students and parents to save their costs. I want to thank again my guests from the bottom of my heart. I appreciate each of them. I hope you guys enjoyed them as much as I did. Don't forget, each new show comes out on Thursdays on Facebook, and you can see it by noon every Thursday on my page or the Encouraging Words page. I want to end with this quote as we go to the slide where it shows you where you can purchase the book. But the closing quote is, "The race is not given to the swift or the strong, but to those who endure to the end." Thank you for watching, and have a great day.
I look forward to seeing you.